What's going on, guys? No checking in. Another video with Douglas Bloch, counselor, author, depression survivor, spiritual advisor. Wonderful man. Helped me get through my condition. He can help you too. We're continuing a series you guys have seen previously where we talk about topics of mental health, depression, mood disorders, and we work through them. We learn from Doug. He's helped me. He can help you too. Doug, go ahead and say hi.
Hello, everybody. Nice to be here again.
Today, we're going to talk about spirituality and how it can help us heal from depression. Do not be scared or discouraged if you don't like the topic of spirituality or God. I still think there's something here that can benefit you, so I just ask that you open your mind, open your heart, and give it a listen. See what Doug has to say.
Hello. Welcome. My name is Douglas Bloch. I'm an author and a depression survivor. Welcome to another edition of One-on-One with the Depression Counselor. Today we're continuing our series with my good friend Noah, who was a client of mine, went through a deep, dark depression, came out of it, and is now helping many people through his own YouTube channel. And Noah has been kind enough to basically interview me for these interviews we're doing, featuring a dialogue, a back and forth conversation between the two of us.
Awesome. All right, well, let's go ahead and get it started. On the topic of how spirituality can help with depression, I guess it's important to start by laying a foundation. Douglas, what is spirituality?
Well, before I talk about what it is, I want to talk about how it fits into the program I've created, the 5 areas of therapeutic self-care. Mm-hmm. In one of the videos, I'd say it takes more than a pill to heal from depression.
Sure.
When I was depressed for 9 months, they shuffled me from psychiatrist to psychiatrist to psychiatrist, tried Prozac, tried Zoloft, tried this. I was treatment resistant.
As was I.
So it didn't work. None of those drugs work. But there are other things that do work, which we've been talking about on my channel and yours. Physical self-care, mental, emotional self-care, lifestyle habits, social support, and the last one is spiritual connection. So that's one of the 5 key areas. So what is spirituality? Spirituality is a very personal thing. It's defined differently by many people. I like to think of it as the idea of feeling connected to something greater than yourself. It's different than religion, which is more kind of a more formal set of codes and do's and don'ts. I like what AA says. Spirituality, they say religion is for people who are afraid of going to hell, and spirituality is for people who've already been there.
Yeah.
But anyways, feeling connected to something larger than yourself,
Sure.
An inner experience, that's my definition.
It's good. It makes perfect sense. It's what I've come to understand as well. What is spiritual coping?
I'm going to read you a definition I found. It's very helpful. It's really short. It says that spiritual coping is a reliance on spiritual belief or activity to help manage emotional stress or physical discomfort. In other words, people with a defined spiritual philosophy or worldview seem to cope better with life's challenges and crises. So there was a 1999 Duke University study that they looked at 4,000 people, and sure enough, people who had a regular spiritual practice, that could be meditation, prayer, going to church, going to a Buddhist center, they seem to have less incidence of anxiety and depression than those who did not. So there is a place that spirituality has in healing from depression.
Yeah, absolutely. I fully agree. What are some spiritual tools that you have used?
I like what they say in the 11th step of the 12 steps, sought through prayer and meditation to make conscious contact with our higher power.
Right.
Which, by the way, the higher power is a really nice term to describe that something greater than yourself. If you don't want to use the word God,
If you don't want to define it
Yeah, some people think that higher power is like nature or the sun, or one person in the clinic I worked at said my higher power was all my friends in my community.
Sure.
So prayer is one way, and there are many different kinds of definitions of prayer, and it's interesting that there's a guy named Larry Dossey who wrote a book called Healing Words, and he showed scientific experiments how prayer could actually affect the way that plants grow.
Really?
Yeah, and your brain is a physical organism. So if prayer can affect plants, why can't it affect the brain? Now, I know that I was healed through the power of prayer in my story, and you know it too, so I think there's something to that. In terms of different kinds of prayers, that's really something that's quite personal. Now, in terms of meditation, they say that prayer is basically, reaching up to your higher power and asking for guidance.
Right.
Meditation is sitting and kind of letting the guidance come to you. There's a very famous psalm in the Old Testament that says, "Be still and know that I am God." So we have to get ourselves in a receptive place so we can tune into our higher power, our inner voice, or just feel that peace that passes understanding. Because there is a great peace if we can just quiet the mind, quiet the thoughts, and connect with that inner source within each of us. So prayer and meditation are 2 spiritual tools that I use that I find are very effective.
So do you have another tool that you use?
Well, it's very interesting. On his deathbed, Albert Einstein, who was considered the man of the century in the 20th century by Time magazine, said, there's only one important question. Is the universe friendly? The only important question is the universe friendly? Is this higher power benevolent? Is it available to us? And if you believe that it is, as I do, then the idea of turning it over is saying, hey, higher power, you know, like the sun, like the universe, you're more potent than I am. I don't know what to do, but I'm going to be quiet and let you or it or the force, you know, may the force be with you and Star Wars guide me.
Sure.
So it's surrendering and trusting. And isn't that a great part of recovery in AA? Isn't that a tool that you've learned in your 12-step meetings? Isn't that a phrase that people say over and over again in AA, turn it over?
Well, absolutely, and they say it for a reason. It's been something that I think, I'd say in the past I've struggled to understand and accept, but self-will run riot is something that defines a lot of people that struggle with addiction, for example, and I imagine you could apply it to depression, but when you turn it over, and what I'm trying to do every day by turning it over is admitting and accepting that I don't know necessarily what's best for me, and that I have faith that a power greater than me can help guide my way of thinking and my actions to lead me somewhere that on my own reliance I haven't been able to go. It's sort of freeing to know that you don't have to be in complete control.
Exactly.
And that you can get somewhere.
And you know, initially it takes a leap of faith to do that, but
Absolutely.
when you turn it over and you get help, and you turn it over and you get help, and you see it happening 3 or 4 times, then you start to trust, okay, I don't know how or when. Just like I tell people, if you set the intention to heal and you reach out for support and pray for support and reach out to other people, you will get well. You don't have to know how it's going to happen. You just know that it will happen.
Sure.
And let the universe handle the details.
Of course.
I wanted to conclude with a beautiful poem that was given to me by a client that I think really beautifully describes how spirituality helped her in her recovery.
Okay.
I call it Judith's Story. The name of the poem is called Calling Me. The darkness engulfed my soul. My screams of pain deafened me. Falling further away from reality, quieting the din of the storm, you reached out for me gently. Within your warmth I began to see your love broke through, and you patiently awaited until at last the darkness faded. And there's a dedication that says, to my Lord that came for me, deep within the darkness, to suffer, not eternally. So that was a prayer of thanksgiving for the help that this person received in her darkest moment that basically allowed her to emerge from the darkness of depression and see the light of day.
Awesome. And I think it'd be really, really worth mentioning and saying, as I know it was helpful to me and some people really struggle with spirituality, is that, like you had already said, but just to reiterate, you don't have to specifically define it. I imagine, just like in the 12-step program that I'm working, if you can just get your head around the idea that something in the universe and the cosmos is bigger and greater than yourself, then you have the capacity to turn it over.
And if you just go out on a starry night and look at the sky, you know,
Sure.
or you just look at the sun or just go into a forest or look at the ocean, you know, you can just feel that we are like a little, you know, speck in the great universe.
Absolutely. Thanks, Doug.
You're welcome.